What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. So I'm about to set up for the first debate of the day, if I can get my tongue around it, so I'll pass over to the panel so you can enjoy the dulcet tones of whoever is in there while I do exactly that.
Said before I only heard of you, but now I see you, and I think there's a kind of that component to things, where we hear about this, we see it, we hear about it from other people, but then when you go out and figure it out for yourself, there is that experiential component that you're talking about. So, I mean, like I said, I'm beginning to understand where you're coming from. So I'm not going to be fighting you as hard as I have over the last little bit since we're getting to know each other on here. So.
Sure, and then one thing that that I understand anyway is that, see, everybody's experience is different, and even if we just happen to be on the same page in a lot of things, our experiences are still different. That's just a coincidence. See, I think what happens to a lot of people is that they try to agree with another person so that they're on the same page. In other words, trying to make their experiences match. And I don't think that that's a thing. I think everybody's experiences are their own. That's why when I have a conversation with someone, I'm not looking for them to see things the way that I see them, because they're not me.
Well, but I think this is where I think the tension is as well, though. Our experience or our understanding of the English language, like I experienced it different probably than you did at some level, how I grew up and how you grew up and what we learned in school, what you learned in school. But that's a place we can agree on. Like, we can agree to terms, we can agree to definitions, we can agree, so I don't think you can just completely throw that out, because even we, we're communicating now, so we're experiencing this environment that you would say. But we still have to be some level of common ground to be able to have some level of communication. If you're speaking Spanish and I was speaking English and neither one of us knew each other's language, we can't talk about anything, And so there's a part of it where we do have to find common ground. We do have to find a place where we can agree, or we really can't communicate.
Right, but see, the common ground finds itself. Like this experience that we're both having now, the common ground does not have to be established. It established itself already. So there's nothing to find.
I guess it just depends on how we define each other. So I think that's part of it too. I'm realizing we're probably speaking more of the same than different. It's just how we're defining things and how we're seeing things.
Well, no, actually, it's just we're having different experiences. See, I think what the one thing that I'm trying to say is that you're not going to find two people's experiences to match exactly, because they're different. And I think what people try to do is find a way to make their experiences match. And that's not a thing. That's not.
Well, no, and I hear you. Oh, I hear you. I mean, like, I'm 50 years old. I mean, in my experience, this world is going to be very different than yours.
Right.
Where I've lived, how I've engaged the world. If you have any children, you might have had yours younger than I've had mine. So our experiences at different levels is going to be very different, and I don't disagree with that. I mean, on across the board, and even probably how I came to Flat Earth and how you came to Flat Earth is very different. I mean, so I definitely hear you. I definitely hear
you. And saying it's just like one of the things that I have to try to make people understand about being on this show. People think that because I'm on this show, I automatically am part of some team. And I have to let them know I'm not part of anything. I'm just my own person. I'm just experiencing the show. See, because when that happens, they'll tell me that I am pushing what somebody else is pushing. See, but that's not the case because that's their experience, not mine. See, so that's what I mean when I say experiences are different. See, just like there'll be a group of people out there that'll see 4 or 5 of us on a panel and they'll assume that we are all of the same mind, and we're not. See? So that's why I, make that understood that I am my own individual and my experience is my own. It's not there for somebody else to match it. Because that's the institution. See, in other words, that's the globe institution. See, in the globe institution, everybody has to be on that same belief page. Everybody has to believe the same thing. See, their stories have to match. But see, in my experience, flat earth isn't like that because flat earth is my experience. It's not yours. It's not anybody else's. It's mine. Now, somebody else's flat experience, that's theirs. But now, if they want to combine their experience so that all 10 of them share the same, that's their business. I don't do that. I work alone. I'm my own person. I don't have any teammates.
And I understand that, and I think the reason we kind of fall into those traps a lot of times, there is a longing for community within everybody.
Hold on, Paul. Now, see what you just said? You just said there is a longing for community in everybody. See, now, who is this everybody?
Well, I mean, do you want friends?
No, but my point is, see, I can make that own statement myself. See, if you make it for me, now you're defining me, and no one can define me but me. See, so when you make a statement like that, you can't say everybody because that's incorrect.
Okay. If I do a blanket statement, you're right. If I do an emphatic blanket statement, then there's probably, if you find one person out there that disagrees with me, that doesn't want that, then I hear you. I'm just saying I'll say statistically.
Let me put it to you this way. I have no desire for community. Doesn't mean a thing to me.
Okay. Oh, that's what I said. You just proved the point there, but you're right. Okay.
See, for me, community gets in my way. Because what the community does is try to shape my thoughts for me. And that I can't have that. I got my own mind, my own decisions, my own thoughts, and I don't want them influenced by anyone.
The benefit, I guess I'll say, you're talking about the negative side of community, right? And why?
I never said that. No, I never said that. I never said anything about negative. I just said it's not for me.
You said you didn't want. Okay, well, because you don't want. But okay, I'll be more specific of what you're saying is you don't want anyone to influence your thinking. You want to be able to come up with it on your own, right? Your own experience.
It has to be that way. Because if somebody influences my thinking, then that's their thinking. Now I'm thinking like them. I'm not thinking like myself anymore.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum. Most importantly, if you'd like to join this discussion right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now, we just had Colin Turner smash the super chat, so first and foremost, a massive thanks to Colin Turner. Really appreciate your support. Now, we are joined by The Plain Truth, Slick James Johnson, and Paul. Good to have you all.
Good.
Hello. Any signs of curvature? Maybe talking to you, Travis?
None.
None? Curve Hunter? You haven't found any
Yep.
curvature?
No. I've stopped looking for curvature. I'm just capturing amazement, and yeah, caught some really great stuff this morning too. So, but no curves. Nope.
Oh, that's fair enough. I like the sentiment. Looking for beauty rather than curvature. There isn't any curvature. Shout out to Flat Earth Moon Bear for the super chat. Really appreciate your support. Thank you very much indeed. Any signs of axial rotation then?
Nothing.
Nope.
Not yet.
Right, scientific evidence of gravity.
Scientific evidence of what?
Gravity. Scientific evidence thereof.
Nope.
I haven't come across any.
How about the distance to the sun?
I don't say this often, but I'll throw it in today. The sun is where it needs to be for my experience.
Perfectly reasonable. Anybody else? Distance to the sun?
Nope.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
I have nothing.
Negative.
Nope.
What about evidence of a gas pressure existing without a container?
I've got nothing for you.
I had a friend try to say there was something, but he has yet to produce it. So
We'll wait with bated breath. What about evidence of the R value, Earth radius? Hey, Eben.
I've got nothing for you there either.
Nothing. Nope.
Hey, Eben. Oh, well, that concludes the housekeeping then. Nice and concise. Thank you very much indeed, gentlemen.
I guess to pick up where we left off before the pre-show. See if I can. I think the other. Okay, I'll say this. I value other people challenging what I think. And if there are value in, like, even the show has challenged a lot of what I thought, and it's continuing to do so, and it comes from people, Now it's up to me to determine if what they're saying is true or not, and that's on me, But somebody saying, "Hey, Paul, you don't look at it this right way," or "Hey, Paul, reevaluate that," I think that's a good thing, And I think the value of that having that, obviously, my wife tells me all the time, all the problems I have, and if I don't listen to her, we could have a really horrible marriage. But I try to listen because I value her input, And I think that goes to all my friends and even people on this panel, even listening to atheists, even listen to people that completely disagree with me, or whatever it may be. Just having that constant, that sharpening of what I think, how I think, and reevaluating how I think, because I think it's always a good thing.
No, and I understand that. See, and the difference with me is that my experience is already as sharp as it can be. It can't really be any sharper.
For me, the problem isn't us, because we're here because of our openness. The thing is, the ones we keep talking to, they don't think that way.
Did anybody happen to catch D Marble's latest live stream?
I did. It was great.
It was very good.
No, I didn't get a chance to check it.
I'll summarise his
The one with
sentiment in
The
maybe...
catfishing of NASA, that one?
Yeah, that's the one. So in essence, what he's done is he's made a comparison between people who catfish. Now, if you don't know what that term means, I'll give you a very brief explanation. So you put up a load of fake photos of someone else that isn't yourself, and then you go out looking for, if you're a guy, girls, or gay, other guys, or if you're a girl, guys, or if you're a lesbian, other girls. It doesn't matter. But what does matter is that the pictures are fake. The narrative that goes along with the person that's claiming to be the pictures isn't really them. Let's pretend that the pictures are 18-year-old blonde hottie, and the person actually behind the screen... Do you want to just pop yourself on mute, Paul? The person behind the screen is actually a 60-year-old woman. And you get to the phone call stage, but they don't want to go on Skype or FaceTime, and they don't want to show you or meet, and essentially they're just lying about who they are. And the comparison that Dee Marble made, which was beautiful, was with NASA. So essentially NASA are doing the same thing. So they show you all the pictures, fake though they may be, from the fake medium of the second law of thermodynamics violation known as the vacuum of the sky, otherwise known as outer space. But you never actually get to see for real. You never get to FaceTime with space or see Earth from that position. You're just being catfished by NASA. So I thought that was quite a sweet little example of what's going on. Like, we don't get to go to space. We don't get to see that. We don't get to experience that. Just have the pictures. Just keep accepting and putting off that you're going to ever get to actually experience this for yourself. Just accept the pictures. We'll give you more pictures, more pictures, more pictures. So I thought that was quite clever. Big shout out to D Marble. That was great.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too.
Hey, Chocolate.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning, Chocolate.
Yeah, another big shout out to Darren Marble. Go and subscribe to his channel. D.Marble.
I was in a conversation with a bunch of globe people, and long story short, at the end of the conversation, they said, well, you can't claim the earth is flat. And I said, I never did. And they said, but all of your other people do. And that's when I explained to him, see, I'm not all those other people. I don't make those kind of claims. And the point that I'm trying to make is this is what happens when flat earth people start making claims that they can't back up.
Say hello to the one. How you doing?
Hey guys, I'm fine, you?
Hi.
Very well indeed. Good to have you.
I agree with you, Slick James, and there's a few of us. I don't know if it's a lot, but there's a few of us. The thing is, we can't prove anything through observations alone, and that's why the scientists and philosophers back then had to formulate a more tangible, tangible method to ensure that, hey, we can try to make this more empirical. The thing is, with the claim that doing an observation and stating that it's flat, it's the same thing as making an observation and stating that the Earth is a globe. And those of us here, we see the possibilities of it could be either or. There's just not enough evidence to support either case. And when we actually want to look into what they're observing, we could just observe it and see what's there. You don't have to look at the other assumptions, and therefore the declaration overall is this. That's where a lot of us, some of us, come in and go, wait. So we see this, and this is what we see, but the assumption that therefore it's this, it's not proof, and that's where we're sticklers for. At least a few of us.
Right.
Enjoyed by Ranty, Flat Earth. Subscribe today. How you doing, Ranty?
Doing good, thank you.
You know, like, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. You take somebody like Mark Sargent, right? He's pretty popular in Flat Earth. But the first thing you'll see with Mark Sargent is he's got a model in his hand. And he's got, you know, it's all shaped up and everything. That's a claim. So he has absolutely no evidence of this, but yes, he has a model in his hand saying, this is what we live on. See, so this is what I'm saying. When you start making those kind of claims, now what you're doing is what globe people do. They have a model, they have a globe, and they say, this is what we live on. So you have two sides making declarations, and neither one of them have any evidence whatsoever. And what happens is people blame me for this. People blame me for people like Mark Sargent with their models.
Oh, don't be too hard on Mark. I mean, he's coming up with a conceptualization that people like Jose J.G. Gonzalez require because they can't be left with a void. So I totally get the people, and I even applauded people like Globebusters for doing just that in amidst the corrections to their abuse of scientific terminology, which is to say that these people are out there with good intentions trying to fill the answers that are left when you are essentially presented with the biggest deception in mankind's history. Well, it's going to leave huge numbers of people going, well, what is the answer to this question? And without people out there trying to actually answer them, we presumably get nowhere. You've just got to strike a balance. But ultimately, you also be, have a little humility when you get stuff wrong, which will always be the case if you're speculating. So yeah, I don't see any issue. And to be perfectly honest, when I've watched a lot of Mark Sargent, and he will often disclaim that the maps that he's presenting are, not his maps, and he hasn't confirmed them, and it's just a representation of what it could be. He does slip those disclaimers in. He's not as dogged as to just say this is where we live. I mean, if you can find me an example, I'll stand corrected. But I'm reasonably familiar with what Mark does, and I don't want to decry those people that are out there looking for answers, or in the case of using an existing azimuthal equidistant projection of the world to explain things like circumnavigation, for example. Without that concept, it's really difficult to actually explain to somebody that idea on a flat surface. It's hard to get that across to somebody just with words, and it's a useful tool for doing that. I would happily hold up an azimuthal equidistant projection if somebody came to me and said, well, how is it possible to circumnavigate? I'd put all the disclaimers in first, probably more than Mark, but that's just me. I'd still use that projection, is my point.
I agree. And the thing with Mark Sargent is anyone can interview him. He'll accept that request and interview you, or be interviewed by you, and you could ask him any questions for an hour, 2 hours, however long it goes. Not everyone does that.
No, see, the point that I'm trying to make is that when you see Mark Sargent, and a whole lot of people see him with a model in his hand, they think that they need to come up with a model. See, they think that that's what Flat Earth is about, a model. And Flat Earth is not about a model. See, so if he's in front of thousands and thousands of people, and the first thing they see is a model in his hand, well, that's the first impression, that they need a model. And now that people like me have to answer for that, because every time I talk to somebody, they keep on telling me that my model doesn't work.
Well, Slick, I have to answer to this because it's basically what it's all about is the model and how it is being modeled and what caused it to be modeled that way. So that's the actual end point of the whole argument. But yeah, we may not know for sure how exactly it looks. But yeah, we may state that there is certain things there that perform certain tasks, like a barrier that separates or keeps the pressure in the system.
So what's your point?
We cannot ignore this. So having a model is it's not really that. Yeah, saying that the model may not be accurate, yeah, sure, because it may be the case that it's not really accurate, but still, without a model, it's we'll be like space monkeys. Like, yeah, it goes on forever. We don't have the answers, but actually,
we don't.
What we look for. We look for the answers,
but we don't have them. I think that's Slick's point. You're asserting certain answers to certain problems.
All the answers.
I will agree with you, Slick James, because what we have with the model for Globe Earth from NASA are composites or conceptualizations, and to have those same conceptualizations and composites for Flat Earth, we're potentially falling into that same hole.
Exactly.
Yeah, but guys, don't remember that NASA knows exactly what this place is and how it works. That's why they can change the model to what it's suitable for them, because they know the actual model of the thing.
The model depends on belief. And that's all there is to it. In other words, the real world doesn't depend on belief. What your experience is, you experience. But that model, all you can do is believe in it. Like
No,
when you hold that, hold on, when you hold that globe in your hand, that's not reality. All you can do is believe that this is what reality looks like. Same thing with Mark Sargent when he's holding his model. That's not reality. The only thing you can do is believe that this is what reality may look like. Neither of those are necessary because you have reality. You don't have to model it. Just experience reality and forget the model.
Slick, I think you didn't follow what I said. I said that NASA knows exactly what the Earth is. They know the boundaries, they know the size, they know everything about flat Earth.
How do
That's
you
why.
know? How do you know?
Can you let me finish?
Yeah, I'm asking you, how do you know?
Yeah, I'll finish. So because they know, that's why it's so easy for them to pull out this fake model that they introduce. And actually, all the science and all the data is out there. You just have to go and read through it all. They didn't lie about anything. They just covered it with a sense of, oh, we just misrepresent that because we thought it's another thing, so they can wash their hands at the end. That's why
How do
they
you
did
know?
it.
How do you know?
Because I went more time reading about it than you.
So you believe what you read?
No, I believe the gathered information and reading through the whole information and then synthesizing it and then checking where the mistakes are and where the possibilities are, and you can see it there. You just have to go and read it first and then start actually commenting on it because you haven't done it.
And so now you believe all that now?
Believe all what?
What you just said?
Yeah, because I just listened to a video about Faraday, who was explaining that before the appearance of hydrogen or the forming of hydrogen atoms, he assumed a primordial soup that polarized itself to form hydrogen, and this is exactly what I discovered. And
you believe it?
I believe all that? Eyes. I believe my eyes because I see it all around me.
What did you see?
Ether and electricity polarizing itself.
Where did you see this at?
Like everywhere.
Well, give me a place.
Everything's made of it.
How do you know?
Because I went through all the possible science on the internet.
And you believe it all?
This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Do you believe it all? And can you prove it? Do you believe it? Have you seen it?
I wrote a 25,000-page report on it. I have more than 90 experiments proving it. And you ask me, do I believe it?
Can you back up those 5,000 pages with anything?
25,000, bro.
Can you back them up?
Did you hear the part when I said 90 experiments that confirm it 100%?
Can you back up those experiments?
How do you back up an experiment, bro?
You could give us a hypothesis for one of them and we could have a little look at it.
Oh, yeah, sure. You can use a magnet and another piece of metal, and you can make it heat up and see that the plasma is trying to get out of it or trying to become unpolarized.
So what are you drawing from this? What is your conclusion?
Hold on, Slick.
Plasma.
Hold on. I said give us a hypothesis.
Okay, here, I'm going to go on mute.
Sorry, I just asked for a hypothesis. You've told me about manipulating plasma. So,
hypothesis is basically that we can make or we can initiate the. Just 1 second, I need a word. The split. We can initiate the splitting of the dielectric plane, which unpolarizes electricity, and we can do it in certain ways.
If it's an experiment, it's a hypothesis test, and you've said you've got one. Well, the first thing I need to know is what's the phenomena you're observing.
Producing energy and heat.
So the phenomena is energy and heat?
Yep.
So you're trying to establish the cause of energy and heat?
Well, it's a natural phenomenon.
Yeah, and you're trying to establish the cause of energy and heat?
Yeah.
And what's the cause of energy and heat? What was the independent variable then, if the dependent variable is energy and heat?
Two polarized fields acting upon a third field.
So two polarized fields acting on a third field is the cause of energy and heat.
Yep, this is how everything gets formed. Basically, without it, it's impossible.
So how are you manipulating these two fields?
By turning one of the fields in the wrong direction, and it doesn't want to work anymore.
So what's the name of this experiment?
You see it in the paper. Just using two magnets north to north pole, and then
what's the name of it? What's the name of the experiment? So I can have a look at it.
I haven't given it a name yet. I've never seen it perform anywhere. I created the experiment.
So you've established the cause of energy in this experiment?
Well, not of energy, but the splitting of the dielectric plane, which will be the opposite, unpolarizing the electricity.
So, sorry, when I asked you what your phenomenon was, you said energy and heat.
The phenomenon is the splitting of the dielectric plane, which causes energy and heat to occur.
Well, sorry. So that would be a cause then, not an effect.
I'm getting confused. You mean that the splitting of the dielectric plane is the cause of and the effect is the actual heat and electricity that's coming out. Is that correct?
Okay.
Well, basically, it goes like this because in the world that we observe, we don't get to see all the actions that go into all processes, because what we observe as let's say if we observe an apple falling, there is a cause for this fall, but then so we have a cause and effect, but then there is a invisible cause and invisible effect which happen. So they create the visible cause and effects. That's the big problem, because science till this point didn't understood that.
So what are you physically manipulating then? You said splitting the dielectric plane.
You can use like a variety of metals, let's say lead and I think not rubidium, but it was with a B. I can't remember all their names in English. But you can use lead. It works good as well, and it depends how powerful your magnets are. Let's say if they're bigger ones, you create heat and energy and electricity really like much faster than with smaller and less powerful magnets.
So I'm still confused. You're saying that the cause of this is the splitting of the dielectric plane. Well, what is it you do to split a dielectric plane?
Well, it's because the protons keep the neutrons in, and neutrons are just static electricity. And if the protons and the electrons, you short circuit them, they won't be able to retain the neutrons. So the neutrons then become active electricity. They're not static anymore, and they form every single neutron forms one new electron and one new proton, and then that's just heat. What's coming out? It's just a small electrical charge that causes heat.
How do you do that though? How do you physically do that?
With magnets and some other type of material. You can use 3 magnets as well, like put 2 big ones north to north, and then use a small one, let's say just a tiny piece of magnet, and put it in between. So all the poles should be pointing in a vertical direction. Doesn't matter how you orientate the small one, it just needs to be up or down. And if you put it to the sides, it doesn't want to work.
Okay, we've been joined by the Limitless channel. Obviously, I'd love to see your experiment being done, scrutinise it a bit further. Obviously, this is all new to me.
Yeah. I was surprised the first time I tried it. It was just like I hadn't held the things, so it was kind of freaky. And when I put the magnets to the lead in it, I felt it warming up in the middle. I got scared and I dropped everything, and I broke 2 magnets because of this, because they snapped together and they started sparkling and emitting electricity. Like I split their dielectric.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me a second. Excuse me. Does this story have a short version?
What do you mean?
This story that you're telling the long version. Do you have a short version of it so that you can kind of hurry up and end it?
No, I don't have short versions, bro.
Okay, can we hear it another time if you don't mind? Just for me,
sure,
if
yeah.
you could do me that favor. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, sure, no problem.
All right.
Just ask.
Okay.
I don't mind.
So what have you got to say for yourself, Ronnie? Why have you joined?
How's everybody doing? I guess, has everybody looked at the Seventh-day Truth Seekers' evidence of the 15 degrees of rotation?
Fill us in.
I haven't. Can you give us the skinny on it?
Can you see my screen? This is the only point I really want to make.
Yeah, you
I got
presented.
the screen
Go
shared.
ahead. You presented.
So here's the interferometer, the machine that Bob's using. They're hiding how it's sitting on. I guess it's sitting on a lunch tray. It's not mounted down, and they're just rotating it themselves, literally. And they're saying this is the evidence that supposedly is the scientific proof that the Earth is rotating at 15 degrees per hour.
And?
What do you say? You're the science debunker and the guy who looks for evidence. How come you guys aren't scrutinizing and skeptically going over this evidence?
I have.
What channel? Where?
This channel.
You've gone over this exact test?
Yeah. In great detail. And debunked any assertion that's linked to it being caused by Earth rotation. Do you want the skinny on that?
You literally showed this interferometer, this gyro, and the measurements that the Seventh-day Truth Seeker is putting out. Because I'd love the link to see where you've explained this exact test.
Yeah.
Not the idea of what they talked about. This exact evidence that they just put out. What was it, last week?
Sorry, who cares? The assertion is that it proves the Earth turns underneath the fixed frame of the gyroscope. And I can debunk that by using the Coriolis effect and the assertions that are required, i.e. two reference frames. I was in the middle of talking, Ronnie. Ronnie, now that you've interrupted me, you tell me how you debunk the assertion that this proves Earth rotates. Go.
Because the mechanical housing itself isn't mounted and they're turning it. That's how it's measuring rotation. They're literally rotating the measuring device.
So if I produced, for the sake of argument, another 10 similar demonstrations of 15 degrees deviation in a fiber optic gyro, what would you do then to debunk the assertion that the Earth is rotating underneath at 15 degrees now?
That's a crazy hypothetical non-reality question. The
that's what's being claimed. Hold on.
Never been proven to move.
Hold on. That's what's being claimed. And I want to know how you will debunk the assertion. Not the test, the assertion.
Spinning.
The
gyro.
You just don't seem to want to listen to the end of any statement.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Not the test, the assertion that it proves that the Earth is rotating underneath. This is not the first time this has been used to make this assertion. Far from it.
Well, any measuring device that's fastened or fixed to the Earth and is detecting a rotation would then prove that the device that the unit is sitting on is rotating. And it literally is. In this video, they're literally rotating this interferometer, therefore nullifying the fact that it could be anything to do with the Earth's movement. And on top of that, Bob Nodal and the entire team are promoting that this is the ethereal movement.
Sorry, I don't want to hear about what they're promoting. I just want to hear how the idea that it's the Earth rotating underneath gets debunked by you, as that's what I've done.
Because this is literally moving, not the Earth, Nathan.
Yeah, you don't seem to want to listen. This is not the first time this has been done. This is not a new example.
This is the first time anyone's put a Lazy Susan on a table, stuck an interferometer gyro on it.
Oh, really?
This is the first time.
Oh, really?
And they're trying to claim
so you've looked into the Michelson-Morley principle that's being applied.
Yeah, I have looked into the Michelson-Morley.
So that's not done on a Lazy Susan then.
They didn't have Lazy Susans, no.
They didn't spin the test to get the interference, to get the diffraction.
All that evidence is a graphic, a drawing,
sorry,
cartoon.
All that's happening here,
Ronnie,
all that's happening is you demonstrating that you don't know how to
you're the one
I haven't finished my sentence. Ronnie, just try and calm down. Try and calm down, Ronnie. You don't have
no,
to.
you're
Ronnie,
asserting something that's not
Ronnie,
true.
try and calm down. All that's being demonstrated is that you don't know how to debunk the assertion that's made using this principle, not this test, this principle that's being employed. And I want you to either concede that you don't know how to debunk it, which is precisely what I have done, or I'll tell you how to debunk it without you interrupting, hopefully.
Yeah, tell me, please.
No problem. So if the assertion is that the gyroscope, which is in a fixed reference frame, is displaying a 15-degree deviation because the Earth rotates underneath, then the Earth rotates underneath aeroplanes and helicopters and balls that you throw, and you if you jump in the air. So it's essentially a demonstration of the Coriolis effect, if you take it as claimed. So the alleged deviation of 15 degrees claimed to be the Earth rotating underneath. So if it's rotating under that fixed frame of the gyro, then it must be a demonstration of two reference frames. One, the atmosphere. Two, the Earth rotating underneath. So it must rotate underneath planes and bullets and balls and anything in the second reference frame. However, we don't observe the Earth rotating underneath aeroplanes and continents travelling towards the plane as you fly through the second reference frame. According to globe heads, the Earth and atmosphere are velcroed together as one reference frame, no deviation, as demonstrated, allegedly, by the gyroscope. So if the gyroscope, and this is the conclusion, if the gyroscope is a demonstration that we have two reference frames, then you must see deviation in aeroplanes and super shortened flights because, like the gyroscope, the Earth rotates underneath.
Excellent. Thank you for explaining. You guys have a good day.
My pleasure. Thank you for joining, Ronnie.
Sorry, guys. I just wanted to tell Ronnie one sentence. 15 degrees per hour rotation that's being measured is the sun movement, if he doesn't know.
Anyway, nice that we're still addressing the gyroscope and it's still coming up. Wonderful stuff. Ranty disappear?
Yeah, he said he's stepping aside to allow another philosopher join the panel. I think.
Is that so? Hey, Arwin.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Arwin.
Hey, Dan.
Shout out to P-Brain for smashing the super chat. Really appreciate your support. Thank you very much indeed. Keep crushing it. So many nuggets of truth and logic. Thank you. Well, thank you.
What's funny is I keep watching that Big Think by Michelle Thaler, who's the NASA assistant director to communications for NASA, and it's like a 7-minute snippet, and she goes, "It's not all right to think that the Earth is flat, and that we've believed that the Earth was round for thousands of years. In actuality, as a consensus, it's probably only been for a few hundred." But no one thinks that, okay, well, if everyone wants consensus, before globe Earth model, heliocentric model was a consensus, it was flat and stationary for hundreds of thousands of years. I just like thinking of it that way.
Yeah, the double speak is strong in that one. Hey, 10th man. Can you hear us? You're on mute at the moment.
Checking.
Yes, we hear you. Good to have you.
Good. Hopefully my call won't be jumping all over the place today. I'm on my iPad instead of my phone.
Much clearer, much better.
Hey, yesterday, I really enjoyed the show, and the day before. One of the things I spotted yesterday, which if you could illuminate a little bit more. When Paul held up the toy ball from his house when you had the collar on, and he was kind of confused about where we were going with the conversation, and you said something that got me thinking. You said, well, of course, you're looking at a ball, so you don't need to test it because you're looking at it. There's no need for a test because it's right there. It's a ball. It has a circumference. And then you elucidated to him that, but we can't see the Earth. So you're trying to tell, meaning science, in a pseudo way, you're trying to tell us we live on something like that ball. So when we see the ball in Paul's hands, it's obvious we don't need to go through the empirical method because it's obviously a ball. It's a what is. Well, it's a ball. But then when they're trying to tell us we live on something like that, we're trying to say to them, show it to us. And no matter how we ask them, they can't show it to us. Or you go up in a helium balloon and it doesn't look like a ball at any elevation from sea level all the way up. It still shows a horizon coming to your eye. So I thought that was pretty good because people are mistaking how you are asking the scientific method, in my opinion. They think you mean do it on everything, when it's obvious you don't have to do it on the ball because you can see it.
Well, you hit the nail on the head when you said it's a what is question. What is this item? Well, that item is a sphere. It's not a cause and effect relationship. It's like the guy the other day when he was talking about measuring a door. Well, you're not talking about a cause and effect relationship. There's no need to apply science when it's blatantly obvious you're looking at a ball. But I won't take credit for this. This is not my argument. This is Math Powerland's argument. So you don't get to see the Earth from the vantage point that they show you in the pictures. They show you a photograph and catfish you with photos, but you're never going to get to meet that view with your eye. You never get that vantage point, and that's Math Powerland's argument. Very good argument that it is.
Yeah, precisely. So what they do show us is video that seems to be altered when put through some simple tests in Photoshop and other things. So we have these anomalies of boxes around the Earth and, you know, all kinds of promotions of going to space that when the simple Photoshop tool is used, there's some anomaly. So they really haven't shown us. There's still, it's like a parlor trick.
Well, they can't show us, and while that's a great argument and very 2015, the new argument on the block is the fact that that picture has been taken from a place that cannot exist. It's been taken from Narnia, in effect. So while we can worry about the photoshopping that's been done at Narnia and pulling apart the pictures of Narnia, it's like, well, Narnia isn't real. And in the case of the vacuum of the sky, which is what alleged to be above your head, wherever you may be, relative to the sphere that you presuppose you live on. So you've got this place that's claimed to be a vacuum, outer space, the vacuum of the sky. And that's the second law of thermodynamics violation. We're breathing gas, we have gas pressure, and the pressure requires something to press upon. So you can't have it pressing on an ever-expanding vacuum because the gas would disperse into it. Therefore, outer space is fake. It's a second law of thermodynamics violation. It cannot possibly be real. So anything that's claimed to be taken from pictures to be taken from the second law of thermodynamics violation, known as outer space, can instantly be discounted as fake. You don't have to necessarily pick apart why they're fake with the Photoshop aspect, because where'd you say they came from? Space? Oh, no, we've got gas pressure here. We're definitely all breathing, and if that place was real, the gas would fill that space. We'd be at 10 to the minus 17 torr here at sea level because the gas would fill the space. So yeah, that's a great way to debunk it. Just say, no, space is fake. Can't have a picture from a fake place.
100% agreed, and your gas pressure without a container, I think, is one of the strongest arguments, and I've used it, and it just leaves them a little bit dumbfounded. However, we can go up with a helium balloon by kids who have the ability to put a camera, and we go to the highest point of that gas pressure in a container, and then the balloon pops. That's about all we have. And when we go there with a camera that someone who's not working for NASA shows, so kind of like, hey, I'm going to check and see what NASA says with my own camera, test, so to speak. And the ones I've seen show a flat horizon, and it can only go so high, not space, but so high of the gas pressure in the container, which is pretty good.
I think what it.
Sorry, can I just say something? It's not the highest you can go because there you get different types of flares of gases, so it won't allow the actual balloon because you have like the Van Allen radiation belt, which is actually the Earth's magnetic field, just keeping all the strong field polarities from the sun. So the particles, they're very, not particles, but the atoms, they're very high in energy state, so they'll pop the balloon. But
well, I have
higher than this.
When I said highest it can go,
yeah, this is what the balloon is capable of.
Exactly. So I can't talk to the balloon and say, why can't you go higher?
Yeah. Probably you can go higher with something much more special, like type of balloon thing.
Well, the point is, when we test with cameras that you can throw away with normal lenses, we see something totally different within the container where the gas is than what they show us outside the container with no gas.
Yeah, true.
So this is what I'm saying. Why is it that average ordinary citizens who don't have anything to gain, like $53 million a day, debunk all the NASA stuff? I mean, it just makes you think, right?
Well, you have to be careful when you use that word debunk, because when you say debunk, you're saying that those photos prove something. So you want to be careful of that. Only thing that those photos show is what they show.
Exactly. I'm not saying debunk in the strictest sense the way you're saying, which I understand. I am saying that to my ability, affordability, tools at my hand, I could send up a balloon like many amateurs have done, and cameras that anyone could go buy off the shelf, so they're not, set up to show something different. And every one of them correlates with the other ones from all over the world. They go up, they go as high as they can go in this gas pressure within the container that nobody knows what it looks like exactly. And they pretty much show a flat plane. The balloon pops and it comes down.
Shout out to Winnie the Brew Bear, who says A4 is a tranny. Thank you for the super chat.
I think what it all boils down to is belief. Because if people believe something, that's it. They take that as face value. They don't look into it. Just think about when humans observe birds flying and go, hey, we're never going to fly like birds like that. And so someone else goes, okay, yeah, I think you're right. So they don't even try. But it's that trying and to see if that's actually correct that, hey, can we fly in the air like a bird?
How does that correlate?
Because
I'm sorry.
Because if you just listen to someone state something and you never go and investigate whether it's true or not, you're never going to find out.
Which is my point.
The inhibitor. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. But I don't know how that correlates with the example of me showing that there's tens and maybe hundreds of people trying to send up in the helium balloon to see what they can find. So I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, because they're not believing in what someone else tells them. They're going out there and investigating themselves, and that's great. I like that.
Ditto on that.
And I agree with both of you, but what my point is, once you start making a claim of what those pictures show, that's where you start having a problem. It's fine to show a photo, but once you start claiming that it's something, now you're doing the same thing that they do. They show you a photo and then they claim. See, so if they can't do it, nobody else can either.
Can I test that with you, Slick?
Certainly.
Okay. I grew up in the, 70s, listening to my science teachers. Always felt something was wrong, always would raise up my hand. And then they just say, look, I don't even believe it, but I got to teach it. So all through school, I've had the space pictures, all the stuff that everybody sees that the media wants us to just see. All of a sudden, flat Earth issue comes on the scene, and I see my first picture from a helium balloon at 120,000 feet, and I compared that to the Red Bull jump and that Google executive who jumped maybe a little bit higher than that, 129,000 feet or whatever he was. And I watch these videos and I see the Earth going convex, concave, straight. As they're falling, their cameras twisting the Earth as if a camera could twist something, the Earth, like the Earth. So I say, okay, something's up with that. That got to be a fisheye lens. And then I look at the amateur who sends up his balloon with a normal camera, normal lens, and it looks like a flat plane. So when I say debunk, I am contrasting to what has been pushed on me. It debunks what's been pushed on me, because how is it that we can all go to a ball game, watch a footballer score a goal, and one guy tell me he didn't score the goal, when we all see what we see? So I could see helium balloons at the same level showing flat, and then the stuff coming from the government and NASA showing round. So it debunks that, or causes someone is not sharing the truth. I need to investigate.
Shout out to Ranty Flatter for the super chat. He says, I want to hear more of Slick James Johnson. Oh, it's gone. I couldn't read the rest of it. Thanks for the super chat, Ranty Flat Earth. Really appreciate your support. Subscribe today, Ranty Flat Earth.
So when I say debunk, I don't mean debunk in the sense, well, they put pictures and you put pictures. They could say the same as yours. No, I'm just stating this picture is at 120,000 feet, and all the ones done by amateurs don't show a curve, and all the ones done by the space agencies show a curve. So somebody's camera is goofing up.
Well, it's even claimed by Neil deGrasse Tyson that they were using a super wide angle lens on that jump by
Well,
Sorry.
Well, they've had to backtrack a lot since optically telling us a boat disappears 3 miles out, so there's the curve. It's just amazing when you think about it. They're still using a guy 2,000 years ago with 2 sticks to say the Earth is 24,901 miles in circumference. I mean, don't they have better instruments to show us now? But they still go to that guy and say that's the right measurement up to a foot or 2. And then you say, can you break that down in inches and feet? And they say, oh, yeah, it's 8 inches per mile squared. I say, great. I can handle that. I can't handle 24,901. So 8 inches per mile means if Nathan is a mile away from me, in the middle should be an 8-inch bulge. If he's 2 miles away from me, it should be 32 inches bulge, and on and on. But we never see it. So a guy 2,000 years ago with 2 sticks is who they're hanging on.
Well, they need that because they need the radius of the Earth for their gravitational formulas. But quickly, I just want to say with Slick James, the way that you say with people observing it and then they make an assertion. Here's a quote that you might like by D.L. Moody. The best way to show that a stick is crooked is not to argue about it or to spend time denouncing it, but to lay a straight stick alongside
it. Very good.
And that's why I'm just rewriting their science now.
I just got to say, shout out to D.L. Moody. I'm an alumnus of that school.
I visited that school in Chicago. He was a great philosopher.
The one thing about the experience thing, to go to the Felix Baumgartner thing, this is where I guess I kind of where the tension comes in with experience. Actually, there was a testimony where Felix Baumgartner, after he did the jump, he actually said, I saw the curvature of the Earth.
Yeah, he did.
Was his experience of that true?
Yeah.
Did he actually see the curvature? Because high altitude amateur balloon says you can't see it, but he said he could see it. So now, how do we determine his experiences, Slick would say, was correct or incorrect?
Well, you're assuming he's telling the truth. When the capsule opens up, from the inside camera view, it shows a straight horizon. And when the capsule was taking off from the ground, it already showed the curve 3 feet, 5 feet off the ground. So, I mean, the guy is not talking truth.
Oh, I agree with you. I'm just saying, but if we use this the word, that's why I think that just using the word experience, there has to be more to it than that. To have we had to have a shared understanding of reality of truth. How do we determine what reality truly is, and how can we come to a common understanding of that?
Hello.
Well, like the guy said, you lay a straight stick next to a crooked stick. So we got a straight horizon at 120,000 feet from multitude of amateur cameras, and we got Felix Baumgartner 5 feet off the ground with a curve, and up there showing New Mexico as 2/3 of the globe, saying that he saw a curve. Well, the straight stick says he's lying.
No, I agree with you. I'm just talking about the experience.
Just give me 1 minute and I'll do a picture and I'll post it here. I'll just do it in After Effects right now for a post comment about Felix, and I'm back in.
You know, the funniest thing about that Felix Baumgartner footage is that I actually showed a couple of my Glober friends, and when they were looking at it, they're like, "But that doesn't look like Earth. That can't be Earth. Like, it looks like a big desert planet. Where's the water? Where's all the water on Earth and the clouds and all that? It just looks like a big desert." So I was just like, "Yep, that's what they're showing you."
Hey, Paul, in answer to your question, why do we need to verify what this Baumgartner guy says he saw? Why is that so important that we need to verify it?
Oh, I'm just saying is he's spouting something that it's either it's true or it's not. And I think I'm not saying. I mean, it's just evaluating whether somebody's what's a statement someone's saying is true or false. And I think that's what we've been talking about. But I mean, if we use just the idea of experience, then if we take him at his word, then he experienced the curvature. That's not.
Well, my answer to that is then why not just observe the camera shot and observe it? I mean, what difference does it make what he says if the camera shot is showing the same thing that he sees? All you have to do is look at the shot and come to any conclusion that you feel is necessary. Now, for me, personally, I don't feel the need to come to any conclusion because it doesn't prove anything. It's just a shot. Now, if you have an opinion about the shot, that doesn't mean the shot means anything. So my philosophy is I don't make these kind of assumptions. It's a photo, looks nice, have a nice day.
There's anything to add to that? Add it now because I'm going to do a little kind of plug. And then round out
yeah, Nathan. I'm not sure. I mean, I really enjoy Slick's point of view on so many topics, but I'm not sure if I totally understand what he just said. If there's a ATM being broken into and the bank has a camera and it catches the action, how do you apply what Slick just said to that camera showing the action? Are we saying that it doesn't prove anything?
No, what it proves is that the camera caught the action.
That's exactly what I believe. But the way you were saying it is that you can't take a definitive stance on anything based on what the camera shows. Well, it's a matter of interpretation, I think you're saying.
Why would you take a stance? In other words, you're comparing the ATM thing. Okay, the ATM shows a photo of somebody actually doing a robbery, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so what is there to read into that?
Well, here's where I'm going.
No, I'm just asking you. Do you have to read anything into that? Isn't it self-explanatory?
Well, let me give it some context. So they go get the guy who they think it is. They do a police lineup, and they got a guy who's 5 foot tall, and there's the guy who actually did it is 6.5 feet tall, and they could ascertain that from the video itself based on other structures nearby. And they even get a midget at 3 feet tall. And then they do a lineup. They look at the video. They look at the lineup. And they choose the 3 foot midget. Well, that wouldn't be right because it's obviously in the camera shot, it's a much taller person. So you do ascertain something from it.
Okay, so what do you ascertain? You ascertain that the video was worthless.
No, I ascertained the video showed that it wasn't a 3 foot man.
Right, but you're saying the video didn't show the video didn't show the actual guy. Is that what you're saying?
No, the video showed the actual guy, whether wearing a mask or not, and you can use it as proof that it's not the 3-foot guy. So there's your null, so to speak.
Okay, so you have that. Now take this Baumgartner picture. What can you evaluate from that?
Oh, very good context. Thank you. So what I could evaluate from that is I could say, how high did he say he went? 124,000 feet. And how many shots do I have of the different cameras that he has? And he's got outside cameras, inside cameras. And then I got to look at him. And when I look at him, I see that the inside camera shows the Earth totally different than the outside camera. Then I see that it shows a curve at 5 feet off the ground and a bigger curve at the attained height of 124,000 feet. And then I say, how do I test that? I mean, I'm never going to go that high. And then, there's a bunch of these amateur people sending their balloons with cameras to 104,000 feet. I said, well, there's a big difference between his camera at 124,000 feet and these cameras. So somebody is not telling the truth.
With that, I will say that if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley live stream, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. But before I do round out this live show, I'm going to do a quick shout out to No One's Flower, or Nora, as she brought to my attention a YouTuber whose name I forget, but the point is hopefully not going to get lost on the specifics of the YouTuber who brought this to my attention. So in essence, we are being censored by YouTube as flat earthers. So lots of videos are being sent to me. Shout out to Eagle Plane and Anchor, who showed me a video that showed that if you remove the word flat earth from a search, like for 200 proofs, for example, you'll actually find it at the top of the list if you just remove flat earth, whereas if you stick it in, you get all of the mainstream nonsense, including my interview with Vice, strangely enough, which I thought was a pretty good interview. But that aside, my point being that there's obviously lots of YouTubers now with smaller YouTube channels, and I'm not a big YouTuber, but by the same token, I do have an audience of people who are interested in this subject. So while I can't necessarily shout out every single YouTuber because I don't know them and I can't find them, this is an open platform. So if you are one of said YouTubers, you are more than welcome to come onto the show, mostly likely join at the beginning of the first debate because you'll get on the show when the link is open to the public and there's still gaps on the panel. But you're more than welcome to interrupt the conversation and say, look, I've got a channel, I make content on X subject, I'd like to just plug it, and then just name your channel and tell people of the audience where to find you, potentially spam a link in the chat which I'll approve. But that's something that I can certainly do rather than literally going out to find these people who aren't findable in the first instance. But if you are one of those YouTubers and you want to join the show, yeah, feel free to come on and plug your channel and inform people of what you do and let them know where they can find you, because it is getting ever more difficult for those smaller YouTubers to do just that. So shout out again to No One's Flower, or Nora, for bringing that to my attention, and hopefully I can in some small way provide a resolve to anybody who's in that position. Once again, a massive thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this live debate possible. Also massive thank you to everybody who smashed the super chat and joined us for this live debate. If you need something to keep you occupied after the live debate is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video. Stay tuned if you're in Nathan Oakley, as there will be an after show to follow.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Not completely calm, but then if you expose it for or have the shutter speed go on for a longer amount of time, you can get that smooth effect, so it appears as though the water is completely calm when it's not. So there are certain things where you might want to look into the picture a little bit more and scrutinize it. I think that's what a lot of people are taking a stance on.
Well, I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm talking about evidentiary method or evidentiary evidence. I'm not talking about empirical science evidence. If I take my camera right now, I see my dog sitting down on the carpet in front of me with my own eyes. If I take my camera right now and put that camera in front of my own eyes and take a picture and look at it, it's going to mirror exactly what I'm seeing with my own eyes. Now, if I take it to the lab and start messing around with it, now you're describing NASA.
Well, the thing is, you can still, I mean, sometimes your settings on your camera won't be exactly accurate, like you just took a picture of. Sometimes you need to mess with the settings and post-processing to make sure it appears just like what you're seeing.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that's faking something like NASA does.
Well,
it can be done both ways.
I think we're saying this. I think we're saying the same thing, except I'm not being that detailed about it. Meaning, I put my camera on auto, so all the settings are being set based on how the camera is already programmed to do it, however way they do it. I could also go on manual. I don't know enough about cameras to do ISOs and do all those things. However, there is on scenic mode, you can put it on star trails and do that, and every 10 seconds it takes a picture. So the camera will do what it's got to do. The point is, if I could see with my eye, my dog, the way he looks at me now, the way I see him now, 7 feet away from me, and I take a camera and I take that shot from the same distance and I print that picture, I, as a witness to the event personally, could look at that picture and say, yeah, that was that moment in history captured on this film or on this media called a digital picture. And to me, it's the same thing. Now, if I show it to you, you could say, well, how do I know that you didn't mess with it?
Yeah. The question I would have for you is that, did that photo capture the experience better?
Well, I'm not saying, no, I hear what you're saying. I think this is why I love you, Slick, because you philosophize points that people don't, and they're deep, and I get a lot out of it. So I'm with you on it, but I'm not coming at it from that point. I am saying that I personally could be the only witness to it because I'm the only one in the room. Now, if you were sitting next to me and you say, hey, Ed, your dog is really cute. Can you take a picture? I want to take it home with me, show it to my family. Now we both are here in reality. I take the picture. I give you a copy. You go home, show it to your family. And your family says, what you just said to me, does that picture really capture the experience? And you say, well, yeah, because I was there.
But that wasn't my point.
Okay,
that wasn't the point that I was making. What I'm saying is, the experience that you had of the dog, not the picture part of it, but the experience. The point that I'm making is that, and I'm asking, does the photo better recreate that experience, or was the experience not recreatable? In other words, can that photo totally capture the experience? And the point that I'm trying to make, the point that I'm trying to make, hold on. The point that I'm trying to make, and as you take it further, as this photo goes down the line, the less people that are aware of the experience, they have absolutely no way to back up that photograph is real. They don't know you, they don't know the dog, so the only thing that they can do is believe that you or the dog is even still around. See, that photo can only tell you so much because it's the experience that tells everything.
Well, I see what you're saying, but I don't go to those. You go to a level with an item like a picture of a dog that I would have to be sitting down, smoking a cigar, and contemplating all of these things. I don't do that. I'm sitting here looking at my dog. I say, I want to capture this moment. He's in a funny stance. I take that picture. I capture the exact moment. I got plenty of these moments. Now, when I look at the picture, it's like a memory jogger for me. Oh, I remember that day. That was a cute thing that my dog did. It's true to me. Now, if I show you that picture, you say, well, what a funny dog. How does he sit like that? And I say, well, you think that's funny? Look at these other pictures. All you have is my experience shown through a photograph because I can't take you back to that moment in history.
No, I understand, but at that point, in order for me to totally accept the story that you're telling me about the dog, I must believe. See, my thing is that, and this is just for me, not for other people, I don't have a belief system. See, so anything that requires a belief, I have to immediately reject it, and I can only go on experience.
Well, that's where we're different, and I could enjoy your difference, and hopefully you can enjoy my difference. I do have belief.
That's okay. No, I appreciate it. I'm not trying to impose this on you. This is just my stance that I'm expressing, and you're expressing yours, and we both understand each other mutually.
And this is why I love this channel that Nathan has, because it has so many variety of opinions. Not that I agree with all, nor that you should agree with mine, but we're all seeking the truth in various ways. And I think this channel will do more to wake up people to the lies of pseudoscience than any debate forum channel that's out there. Because right. I don't see any forum of any YouTube channel that has, and I say this with extreme caution, but also a lot of love. We have so much infighting in a good way because the differences are hashed out among ourselves openly. It's reality. Someone's saying, oh, they're fighting on the Nathan Oakley channel. I'd say, no, they're not fighting. He's got an opinion. I got an opinion. And they're hashing it out. And then we all jump on the pseudoscience and destroy it. I think it will open up more people to what science is and what science isn't by having real people with differences discuss it.
And I agree with everything you said, except for the part when you said we all. That's the only part I disagree with personally, because that means you're speaking for me.
No, when I say we all, you as your independent, me as me, how do I say this? When I say we all, I'm not speaking for you. I'm saying that you're part of the all. You're part of the group with your own belief system or no belief system.
Right, but I'm not, no, but see, I still have to, I just must correct that. No, I'm not part of the group.
Okay, see, then why am I talking to you if you're not part of the group, and why do I see your channel at the bottom of the screen?
No, it's just that what I'm trying to say is that when you say we all, that makes it sound like we all are on some type of a same page. And see, the only thing I'm saying is that be careful when you say we all, because you can never speak for another person. So when you say we all, you're speaking for other people, and that's not, it's a kind of impossible.
That's not what I did.
I know what you meant. I understand what you meant.
I know, but we all hang on, please. We all see, this is, like I said, you take it to where you are in the way you think, and I'm not there, so that's what makes us different and makes it good. When I say we all, I'm saying that this morning I'm in California, you're wherever you are, Nathan's in the UK, we're on one YouTube channel, and there's so many people. I could see that the host is here, Nathan's here, and the panel's here. We all are sharing this moment together. That's we all. It's not.
Well, you have
I'm
to
not
realize,
speaking for you.
You have to realize that the next time you say that, you have to say we all, except for Slick, because he doesn't like it when you talk for him. So don't include him.
I'm not talking for him.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
According to Slick, you are. That's why he's being pedantic about we.
Well, this is why this is another moment we can hash it out, so that when we or I personally say we all, Slick would not challenge it because he knows I'm not crossing what he says. So I rather hash it out with Slick now. When I say we all, I mean at this moment in time, we all are talking, because if Slick's not talking back, then it's not we all, because obviously he's talking to me, so it's we all.
And I understand your point exactly. The way that you explained it, I understand.
Yes, and I will state now that I will never speak for Slick or know what Slick's thinking, because I can't.
You're a good man, sir.
I'm glad we sorted that
out. I love you.
I think as long as we don't take things personally, I mean, I think that's where a lot of the drama occurs, is we're just wanting to, this is just a forum for we can discuss things rather than type it all in chat. Yet when someone states something and then someone says, well, back that up, or I don't agree with that, or whatever it is, sometimes people take that personally as, and it's not even an ad hominem attack. Some people just actually resort to ad hominem attacks, and then you can make a case that, yeah, I guess you're going to take it personally. But when we're just hashing out ideas and observations and models, all of that stuff, people shouldn't take it personally when there's a disagreement.
Well, I had a response to Phuket, and I said, "Hey, he did a good video about the star trails with the light thing he did on his channel." I got a response from a Glober this morning saying how stupid I was and I didn't know what I was talking about, and nobody cares what I think. I'm trying to search in my mind because I can't look at it right now. Nobody cares what you think or blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, wait a minute, then why are you responding if nobody cares? I mean, it's amazing. Immediately they start with the attack instead of having discourse. But his whole point is nobody cares what you think, but he's responding to what I think.
And with that, I'll say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you joining us in the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, for tuning in, hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, sharing, all that good stuff. If you need something to keep you occupied after this premiering stream is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!